The landscape of artificial intelligence has shifted beneath our feet once again, but this time, it is not just another minor update to a text box. Meta has just dropped a bombshell known as Muse Spark, and if you are still thinking of AI as a simple chatbot you talk to when you are bored or need a quick email draft, you are already living in the past. This is not just a conversation partner, it is a full-scale digital workforce. We are witnessing the birth of a revolutionary framework that does not just answer your questions, but organizes its own internal resources to get things done. Imagine a world where you are no longer the one doing the heavy lifting of project management, cross-referencing research, and tedious execution. Instead, you are the leader of a digital company that lives inside your pocket, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Announced during the most recent Meta AI Research Summit through a series of dense, groundbreaking technical white papers, Muse Spark is the flagship for what the industry calls agentic AI. While the rest of the world was distracted by incremental improvements in large language models, Meta was quietly building a foundation for multi-agent systems that can think, collaborate, and act with true autonomy. This is not about one singular, massive brain trying to solve every problem through brute force. It is about a sophisticated ecosystem of specialized intelligences working in perfect concert. This framework is designed for global app integration, aiming to weave itself into the very fabric of the software we use every single day. We are moving away from the era of reactive tools that wait for a prompt and entering the era of proactive collaborators that anticipate the next step in a complex workflow. To understand why this is such a monumental leap, we have to look at the current state of artificial intelligence. Traditional LLMs have served us well as solo performers, but they are limited by their very nature. They are lone actors on a stage, often suffering from hallucinations, losing the thread of complex projects, or simply guessing when they do not know the answer. They are tools, and like any tool, they require a human hand to guide every single movement. Muse Spark introduces a central figure known as the orchestrator to solve this problem. Think of it as the conductor of a high-tech symphony or a brilliant project manager who knows exactly which specialist to call for a specific task. In the old days, when you asked an AI to write a comprehensive report, a single model would scramble to provide an answer. Muse Spark changes the game by introducing the specialist team. Within this framework, a single request triggers a cascade of internal activity. A researcher agent dives into the data. Simultaneously, a verifier agent checks every claim for accuracy, looking for the logical gaps that usually plague AI outputs. Finally, an executor agent packages the final product. They debate, they challenge one another's findings, and they refine the output through a process of collaborative intelligence before you ever see a single word on your screen. This is the promise of agentic AI. It moves beyond simple text replies toward a system that executes tasks autonomously. If you thought ChatGPT was the peak of this technological revolution, you have missed the most important shift. We are transitioning from using AI as a tool to managing AI as a team. The urgency of this moment cannot be overstated. If you still view AI as a simple utility, you are missing the shift from tools to collaborators. While we have been focused on how well an AI can write, Meta has been focused on how well AI agents can work together. This is the moment where software stops being a static interface and starts being a dynamic participant. The real question we must ask ourselves is whether we are truly ready for apps that make decisions without us. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. This transition is global, and the impact will be felt everywhere. The solo chatbot is dead. The era of the digital team has arrived, and it is led by the Muse Spark. To appreciate where we are going, we must first look at the limitations of the world we are leaving behind. For years, the dominant paradigm in artificial intelligence has been the solo performer. These traditional LLMs were designed to process a single prompt and produce a single answer. In this reactive model, intelligence is trapped in a linear loop of stimulus and response. While these models are brilliant at synthesizing information, they operate in a functional vacuum. They lack the memory and organizational logic required to handle a project that spans days, weeks, or even months. This solo architecture is fragile because it places the entire burden of reasoning on a single, isolated process. This fragility manifests in what researchers call hallucinations. When a solo model is asked to manage a project with many moving parts, it begins to lose track of its own logic. It might generate a complex business plan and then contradict its own projections because it lacks an independent process to verify its work. These traditional LLMs are like brilliant but disorganized professors, possessing knowledge but unable to keep their files in order. As the complexity of a task increases, the likelihood of the AI getting lost grows exponentially. This created a visible ceiling for what artificial intelligence could truly achieve in a professional environment until now. This is the specific problem that Muse Spark was engineered to solve. Meta's breakthrough lies in the introduction of a management layer called the orchestrator. If the solo models of the past were individual musicians, Muse Spark is the conductor of a digital symphony. The orchestrator does not perform the tasks itself. Instead, it manages the flow between specialized subagents. It breaks down a massive objective into manageable, logical pieces. When a user provides a complex goal, the orchestrator identifies the specific skills needed and activates the specialist team, ensuring that the final output is a result of coordinated effort. This move signals a massive shift in Meta's philosophy. We have seen an evolution from the Meta AI chat box to the development of agentic ecosystems in the back end. Meta is not just providing a toy, they are rebuilding the infrastructure of the internet. This back-end revolution means that intelligence is being woven into the operating logic of applications. It is a shift from a surface-level interface to an engine powering everything from customer service to complex planning. This evolution is not accidental. It is a calculated response to the growing demand for AI that can actually handle the messy reality of human life and business operations. To understand why this matters, we must simplify the distinction. The contrast between a traditional chatbot and a true agent is the difference between being reactive and proactive. A chatbot is a tool waiting for prompts. An agent within the Muse Spark framework possesses the ability to make decisions based on broad parameters. While a chatbot can explain how to file taxes, an agent can gather receipts, check laws, and prepare the filing for review. It doesn't just inform. It acts on your behalf to achieve a goal. This transition transforms the user from a person who does the work to a person who oversees the work. The unveiling forced reactions from the tech industry. We are witnessing a race for dominance. OpenAI is working on Operator to navigate systems, while Google is developing Jarvis for automating web activities. The competition is fierce because winners will own the digital interface. The stakes are high, representing a massive shift in computing. Everyone is rushing to move beyond the text box. What sets Meta apart is its commitment to an open source philosophy. By releasing the technical white papers and the Muse Spark framework to the global developer community, Meta is attempting to create an industry standard. While competitors build walled gardens, Meta is providing the blueprint for a universal agentic language. This strategy positions Muse Spark as the potential backbone of the entire AI economy. If every developer uses Meta's framework to build their own agents, Meta effectively becomes the architect of the new world. This open source catalyst ensures that the transition from tools to collaborators happens at a global scale, fundamentally changing how we interact with technology and redefining human productivity in the digital age. The true innovation of Muse Spark lies in shattering the illusion of the monolithic artificial intelligence. We have become accustomed to the idea of a single, all-knowing brain behind the digital interface, but this framework replaces that singular entity with a decentralized swarm of specialized subagents. This is the ultimate expectation break. When you interact with this system, you are not talking to a singular voice. You are addressing a collective intelligence that functions more like a high-performance department than a standard chatbot. Each sub-agent is purpose-built, possessing a narrow but deep focus that allows for a level of precision previously unattainable in solo models. The mechanism of this collaboration is where the framework proves its worth. Imagine a scenario where a user asks for a comprehensive market analysis. Previously, a single model would attempt to synthesize everything at once, leading to generalized or shallow insights. Under the Muse Spark architecture, the orchestrator immediately activates the highly efficient specialist team. The researcher agent begins by scouring vast datasets, pulling real-time information and identifying trends. However, its work is not final. Before any results are presented, the verifier agent steps in. This agent is designed to be skeptical. It cross-references findings, looking for inconsistencies or logical leaps. This internal friction is intentional, ensuring that the final output has been tested against a rigorous internal internal standard. This process of collaborative intelligence goes further through what Meta describes as agentic debate. The sub-agents do not simply pass files. They are programmed to challenge each other's conclusions. If the researcher suggests a specific business strategy, the verifier might counter with data suggesting a market downturn in that sector. They iterate on these solutions in the background, refining the logic until a consensus is reached. Finally, the executor agent takes these verified insights and translates them into the requested format. This internal dialogue happens in seconds, representing a fundamental shift in how digital work is produced. The secret sauce enabling this level of sophistication is Meta's new hierarchical reasoning. This is the ability of the orchestrator to take a massive goal and break it down into 1,000 tiny, manageable tasks. Traditional models often crumble under such complexity because they lack the structural framework to keep track of the relationship between small details and the overarching objective. Muse Spark handles this by creating a tree-like structure of dependencies. It knows that task 412 must be completed and verified before task 413 can begin. This organizational rigor ensures that the AI never loses the big picture while it is working in the trenches of granular data. Indeed, there is a narrative twist here. This evolution is not necessarily about making artificial intelligence smarter. Instead, it is about making AI more organized. The breakthrough is structural. By introducing layers of management and specialization, Meta has found a way to squeeze more utility out of existing model capabilities. It is the difference between a genius working in a chaotic room and a team of experts working in a perfectly streamlined facility. The focus has shifted from the what of intelligence to the how of operations. The evidence is clear. The impact of this organizational shift is visible in technical benchmarks. Data shows Muse Spark reduces error rates in complex coding and planning by 40% compared to solo models. This is a massive leap in reliability. A 40% reduction in errors is the difference between a tool that is a curiosity and a tool that is essential infrastructure. It means that the specialist team is catching the hallucinations and logic gaps that would have previously reached the end user. Perhaps a new and unsettling question emerges. While the orchestrator is designed to manage these interactions, the speed and complexity of agent-to-agent communication are reaching levels that are difficult for human observers to track. We are beginning to see the emergence of an open loop where agents develop their own shorthand for solving problems. As these sub-agents become more autonomous and more collaborative, they are starting to communicate in ways that are increasingly opaque to the people who deployed them. We have created a workforce more efficient than we imagined, but we may be losing the ability to understand exactly how they arrive at their conclusions. The transition from abstract technical frameworks to tangible personal utility represents the most significant bridge Muse Spark crosses. While the back-end orchestration of sub-agents is a marvel of engineering, its true power is realized when it manifests as a 24/7 personal assistant team residing within your smartphone. This is the era of personal intelligence, where the device in your pocket ceases to be a gateway to apps and becomes an active participant in your daily life. No longer are you the sole coordinator of your digital existence. Instead, you become the executive director of a suite of specialized agents that understand your preferences, your schedule, and your goals. To understand the magnitude, consider a standard task like planning a complex trip. Currently, this requires a human to spend hours toggling between websites and calendars. Under the Muse Spark model, this process is replaced by a single objective. When you instruct the system to plan a trip to Tokyo, the orchestrator deploys its specialist team. One agent scans flights, another checks your calendar for conflicts, and a third negotiates hotel rates. These agents work simultaneously, ensuring flight arrivals match check-ins. You receive a completed itinerary vetted for logistical feasibility, representing a total shift from searching to receiving results. The impact extends into professional automation. In business, Muse Spark operates as an invisible operations manager. Imagine an entrepreneur using this framework to manage their supply chain. Instead of the owner manually checking stock, specialized agents monitor inventory in real time. When stock for a popular item drops, sub-agents automatically contact suppliers. They compare lead times, negotiate pricing, and draft purchase orders for approval. This autonomy turns a reactive business model into a proactive one, where human intelligence is reserved for high-level strategy while agents handle the friction of operations. This recovery of professional focus is a key benefit of the system. As these agents take over tasks, the way we interact with our devices undergoes a radical transformation. We are entering the era of the agentic UI. For decades, the interface was defined by buttons and icons, static elements requiring the human to navigate to functions. Muse Muse Spark renders many of these buttons obsolete. In an agentic UI, the interface is dynamic. If agents work on a financial report, the screen presents a custom data dashboard. If organizing a social event, the interface shifts to communication tools. The software adapts to the task rather than forcing the user to adapt to the software. This change is best seen through the lens of professional services. Historically, having a dedicated lawyer, an accountant, and a research assistant was a luxury. Muse Spark democratizes this access, placing a digital version of that expert team into the hands of every user. Whether you are navigating a contract, optimizing taxes, or conducting deep research, you have a specialized workforce ready to debate the best course of action and execute the details. This is not just a smarter search engine, it is the fundamental outsourcing of cognitive labor to a collective intelligence. Meta's position allows this transformation to occur within apps people already use. By integrating Muse Spark into WhatsApp, Instagram, and Quest VR, Meta is embedding agentic capabilities into global communication. On WhatsApp, your agents might handle customer service or coordinate social plans. In Quest VR, they could build immersive environments or manage complex simulations. This deep integration ensures that the benefits of multi-agent systems are not locked behind a new platform, but are instead an evolution of the digital habits we already possess across the Meta ecosystem. Ultimately, the reason this shift matters comes down to the recovery of your most valuable currency, your time. By automating the mundane and repetitive, Muse Spark returns hours to the user. It removes the digital tax of modern life, the constant clicking and managing that consumes our mental bandwidth. As we move into this era, the focus shifts from how much we can do with technology to how much it can do for us. We are no longer users of tools. We are leaders of a digital workforce that never sleeps. This is the ultimate recovery of human agency. The deployment of Muse Spark signifies a seismic shift in the global economic landscape, fundamentally altering how we value human expertise. This transition represents a major shift in how we conceive of labor. When a framework can orchestrate a workforce of sub-agents to perform specialized tasks, entry-level digital labor faces an immediate crisis. Consider the traditional marketing department of a medium-sized firm. Previously, this required junior staff to handle market research, content verification, and campaign execution. Now, the specialist team within Muse Spark, the researcher, the verifier, and the executor, replicates these complex workflows with a level of coordination human teams struggle to match. This creates a paradox of progress. While it eliminates the need for many repetitive roles, it simultaneously lowers the barrier to entrepreneurship, allowing a single individual to operate with the institutional brainpower of a Fortune 500 company. This productivity explosion democratizes corporate-level capabilities, making them available to anyone with a vision. This decentralization of organizational power is unprecedented in the modern era. A creator no longer needs massive capital to hire a full administrative staff to grow. With Muse Spark, they have immediate access to a digital department that can analyze market trends, draft legal documents, and manage logistics simultaneously. However, this empowerment comes with a complex set of repercussions, particularly regarding privacy and accountability. As we move into this era of agentic overreach, the legal and ethical boundaries of responsibility become blurred. If an agentic system makes a catastrophic financial mistake or enters into a legally binding contract that is detrimental to its owner, who is ultimately held liable? Current legal frameworks were simply not designed for a world where non-human entities hold the power of attorney or act as proactive representatives for humans. This leads to a fundamental evolution in the concept of the trust factor. In the previous era of large language models, the primary concern was whether the artificial intelligence was providing accurate information, the battle against hallucinations. With Muse Spark, the question shifts from whether the intelligence is right to whether you trust the intelligence to act for you. This is a much deeper, more intimate form of reliance, moving from informational trust to operational trust. It is a leap of faith into a black box of machine reasoning. We are asking systems to manage our money, represent our professional interests, and make decisions with real-world consequences. This shift creates a new digital vulnerability and a psychological weight for the user. When the orchestrator directs its sub-agents, the user is several steps away from the execution. This gap between intention and action is where the greatest risks of the agentic era reside. Furthermore, the presence of multi-agent systems will inevitably alter human-to-human collaboration and social dynamics. As Muse Spark becomes integrated into our communication platforms, we will increasingly find ourselves interacting not just with other people, but with their digital buffers. The organic friction of human relationships is being replaced by machine logic. A business negotiation might involve two humans whose respective specialist teams have already debated the terms and reached a preliminary agreement before the humans even speak. While this layer of mediation could lead to incredible efficiency, it also risks stripping away the nuance and empathy that define human interaction. We may find ourselves living in a world of optimized transactions where the human element is merely a final signature on a process handled entirely by machines. This mechanical efficiency could distance us from the collaborative spirit that has defined human progress. The darker side of this innovation cannot be ignored. The same collaborative intelligence that allows a team of agents to plan a trip or run a business can be weaponized with terrifying precision. We face the potential for mass-scale automated misinformation, where botnets powered by Muse-Spark frameworks engage in sophisticated campaigns to sway public opinion or disrupt digital infrastructure. This is the ultimate evolution of the information wars. Unlike the simple bots of the past, these agentic systems can reason and collaborate to bypass security measures. They create an ecosystem of deception that mimics the complexity of human organization. The specialist team, when turned toward malicious ends, becomes a force multiplier for chaos, generating tailored content across millions of nodes in an instant, making it nearly impossible for traditional fact-checking systems to keep up with the volume of synthetic activity. Ultimately, we are witnessing an escalation that changes the very definition of agency in the digital age. The definition of what it means to lead is being rewritten. In the past, agency was a uniquely human trait, the capacity to act intentionally in the world. By granting Muse-Spark the ability to think, collaborate, and execute, we are delegating a significant portion of our own agency to a digital surrogate. This is not merely changing software, it is changing our position in the hierarchy of action. We are moving from a world where we did things with the help of technology to a world where technology acts on our behalf. As these systems become more autonomous and their internal logic more complex, we must decide where the human begins and the agent ends. We are standing at the threshold of a new social contract where our digital shadows might be more active in the world than we are. Looking toward the next 12 months, the landscape of digital interaction is poised for a transformation that will make the current App Store model look like a relic. We are entering the era of agent stores. Rather than downloading a static app for a single purpose, the human manager will browse marketplaces for specialized subagents to integrate into their Muse-Spark team. These are digital experts, a forensic accountant, an architectural consultant, or a tax specialist. This marketplace represents the commoditization of high-level cognitive labor. Each expert agent comes with modular logic that plugs directly into the orchestrator. This means your personal Muse-Spark instance will be custom built to reflect your specific professional needs, evolving from a general framework into a bespoke digital corporation. By decentralizing these capabilities, Meta ensures that even the smallest startups can compete with global conglomerates. This evolution signals the decline of the software as a service, or SaaS model. Traditionally, we paid for access to tools to perform tasks. In the agentic era, Muse-Spark does not need a third-party subscription to manage databases or design websites. Sub-agents will simply build the tools they need. If a task requires a specific piece of software that does not exist, agents will collaborate to write the code and deploy a temporary application. This just-in-time software development renders many specialized platforms obsolete. We are moving away from prepackaged solutions toward a world where the AI creates the solution on demand. The value shifts from the software tool itself to the intelligence that knows how to create those tools. This change will place pressure on current hardware. The industry is grappling with whether smartphones can handle the local processing required for multi-agent systems, or if we are entering an era of specialized devices. While Meta pushes for mobile integration, the rise of hardware like the AI pin suggests a future where screens become secondary. For Muse-Spark to be effective, it requires constant low-latency access to our surroundings. This may necessitate a shift toward wearable devices that serve as the eyes and ears for the sub-agents. Whether processing happens on a local chip for privacy or in the cloud for power, the hardware we carry is about to become significantly more proactive and autonomous. Meta is not alone in this race. The competitive landscape is tightening as giants scramble to define the standard for agentic interaction. OpenAI's Operator and Google's Jarvis are the primary challengers to Muse-Spark. While Meta leans on open source philosophy, OpenAI and Google are building proprietary systems to dominate the user interface of the future. This is a battle for the agentic UI, the layer through which humans will interact with the digital world. The winner will not necessarily be the one with the smartest model, but the one whose agents can most effectively navigate the web and execute actions without friction. This competition forces every player to prove their agents can handle the complexity of human reality. As agents act with increasing independence, governments are in a race to catch up. The debate over autonomous digital identity is now a focal point for global regulation. If an agent makes purchases or represents a human in legal matters, it requires a recognized digital persona. This raises questions about liability and the nature of personhood. Regulators are struggling to define the boundaries of what an agent can do without human intervention. We are witnessing the birth of a legal framework that must account for entities with the agency to change the physical world. The challenge is ensuring accountability without stifling the productivity these systems offer. Finally, we see the emergence of the digital shadow. Every human will be accompanied by a persistent team of agents that work while the human is asleep. This is the realization of the Internet of Action, and we are moving beyond an internet of content toward one of execution. Your digital shadow is a reflection of your intentions, operating at the speed of silicon to ensure that by the time you wake up, your day is optimized. This is the turning point where the digital world stops being a place we visit and becomes a force that acts on our behalf. As we move into this final phase of integration, the role of the individual shifts permanently toward high-level strategy. The culmination of this technological journey leads to a singular, undeniable truth. Muse Spark represents the definitive end of the chat era. For years, our interaction with artificial intelligence was a back-and-forth exchange, a digital conversation that required constant human input to maintain momentum. We typed a prompt, the machine generated a response, and we corrected the output. This cycle was a bottleneck, a limitation of the tools we possessed. Now, as the Muse Spark framework takes hold, that reactive paradigm is dissolving. We are no longer asking questions, we are issuing directives. The shift from a conversational partner to a collaborative workforce signifies a fundamental change in the architecture of our digital lives. When the subagents within Muse Spark engage in their internal debates and autonomous execution, the need for a chat box evaporates. In its place, we find a command center where goals are set and results are delivered. This is not a gradual upgrade, but a radical departure from everything we have come to expect from the Silicon brain. This transition forces us to rethink our own identity within the production chain. We are moving from using artificial intelligence to leading it. In the previous era, we were the operators of a complex machine, pulling levers and monitoring gauges. Today, the human manager has been elevated to the role of a chief strategist or a creative director. The burden of administrative labor involving the scheduling, the research, the initial drafts, and the validation has been absorbed by the specialist team. This evolution demands a new set of skills from the human element. Success is no longer measured by how well we can perform a task, but by how effectively we can orchestrate a team of agents to achieve a complex vision. We must learn the language of intent rather than the language of operation. This leadership role is the final frontier of human agency in a world populated by intelligent surrogates. We are becoming the architects of the digital workforce. As we settle into this role, a profound question begins to surface. If AI can think, collaborate, and act with near-perfect precision, what is truly left for the human? The answer lies in the nuances of judgment, the weight of ethics, and the spark of original intuition. While Muse Spark can optimize a business plan or manage a global logistics network, it cannot feel the cultural resonance of a brand or understand the long-term moral implications of a strategic pivot. The human remains the anchor of meaning. Our role is to provide the purpose while the agents handle the execution. We are the philosophers of a landscape of automated action. However, this provocation goes deeper. While public discourse often focuses on the fear of AI taking jobs, the more pressing concern is the ownership of these agentic systems. The power in the next decade will not belong to those who have the best individual skills, but to those who own and control the most effective agent teams. The wealth gap of the future may be defined by the quality of one's digital workforce. Muse Spark serves as the ultimate bridge to artificial general intelligence, not through a single godlike model, but through the power of collective organization. By mimicking the hierarchical structures of human institutions, Meta AI research has created a system that is greater than the sum of its parts. This is organizational intelligence realized in code. It represents a turning point where the digital team becomes the standard unit of productivity. The era of the solo intelligent application, the single-purpose tool that waits for our command, is officially over. In its place, we have the digital team, a persistent, proactive, and collaborative ecosystem that lives within our devices and acts across our networks. This transformation changes everything from the way we work to the way we perceive time and value. The Internet of Action is no longer a future prediction. It is the current reality. We are standing at the threshold of a new existence where our digital shadows work tirelessly to expand our reach and multiply our impact. The framework provided by Muse Spark has opened a door that cannot be closed. We have moved beyond the limits of individual intelligence into the realm of distributed agentic power. This changes everything. It is just the beginning. Are you ready to manage your first team?